This weekend, past weekend, after a hiatus, which lasted for a couple of weeks, the Baltimore Ravens got back on the field versus the Tennessee Titans, and it didn't turn out the way a lot of people expected to. Joe, what happened?
They just came out and just really, honestly, just laid an egg. But if you want to dig deeper into this, because that's what we do. First of all, when you come out and 5 of your first 8 possessions in the first 3 quarters turn into a turnover, you're going to have a long night.
Right.
All right. So you got 2 interceptions, one of which was a tip pass, which wasn't Lamar's fault, and that fell into the defensive player's arm.
Not even a tip. It was a missed catch.
Yeah.
It
hit him right in the hand.
Right in the hands.
Yeah. And then you've got the one fumble by Lamar. That was his fault. And then you inexplicably go for 2 failed 4th down conversions, which I did not agree with.
Except for the fact that they've been doing that all year and they've been converting like all of them.
Yes, but here's the problem. You can do whatever you want all year. It's the playoffs.
It's different.
Football's a game of momentum.
These Titans are different.
Yeah, they're different. But the thing I was going to talk about is the fact that now everybody seems to be kind of backing away from the Lamar train. Lamar's not up to par. He's not ready for the playoffs. He's not this. He's not that. Let me tell you something. Let me break this down so I can keep it real. If you don't like Lamar, you just don't like him. If you do, here's why I like him. Number one, last year, what they say, he can't throw, right? Comes back after the offseason, improves his game, throws the ball all over the field, and has the most prolific passing year, and broke the record for running yards on the ground for a quarterback, and puts himself not only in the conversation for MVP, he actually will be. He is the presumptive MVP for the NFL. Now, if that's not a good year, I don't know exactly what is. Then everybody talked about the fact last year he throws ducks. He can't throw outside now. Like, give the guy a chance. He's been in the league 1.5 years. He did something that a lot of people aren't able to do. First year a player plays in any league, most of the time, NFL, NBA, you always expect that sophomore slump. He came back better.
Right.
Came back better, got an MVP. I think sky is the limit for him. I actually believe that next year you are going to see something new, improved.
He can't be better.
You don't think he can be better?
He can't be better.
I think he can be better with the passing game. Throw it to the outside.
Let me look at this from the perspective of the actual game that happened.
Yeah.
All right. Did not come away from that game feeling any less enthusiastic about Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
All right. I came away from that game feeling very enthusiastic about the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
All right. What I saw, and by the way, Lamar was 31 for 59. 59 pass attempts.
He tried to put the team on his shoulders is what he did.
Right. 365 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. He's never had 2 picks.
Yeah, because he's forcing it, and he had to.
Well, I don't even necessarily think it was forcing it. I'm going to give more credit to the Titans again for a masterful game plan. This was a masterful game plan put into play by Mr. Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to give credit to Derrick Henry for 195 rushing yards on 30 carries while they're talking about NFL as a pass-first league. That ain't how you win playoff games. Kansas City Chiefs notwithstanding. Tannehill, 7 for 14. Only attempted 14 yards and passed for 88.
Yeah.
14 attempts and passed for 88.
But remember this. Let me tell you this crazy stat, and you can keep going. He was 3 for 4 and had for 72 yards and had 2 TDs at the very start of the game. That was his stats to start the game, and that was pretty much that set the tone.
Right.
For the night.
Right. Again, Derrick Henry, 30 carries, 195 yards, and that was the game because he kept on converting and keeping the Ravens off the field, putting more and more pressure on Lamar Jackson. Now, here's what I saw that the Titans did defensively that hurt the Ravens. They paid a lot of attention to the middle of the field and took away his ability to throw his touchdown passes. So if you look back at the season, a lot of his touchdown passes over the middle. They took that away, and if there's any weakness to Lamar Jackson's throwing game, and this was ever since college, is how accurate he is outside of the numbers and his confidence throwing those out patterns, 15 yards, 10-yard out patterns. The Titans were jumping those routes and getting deflections on those outs. So they took away the outs and they took away the middle of the field at the same time. So I just see it as a masterful game plan that slowed the Ravens down and brought the Ravens back to the pack offensively. And in the meanwhile, as great as the Ravens' defense was coming into this game, they put the ball on the ground with the big running back, and that was it. That was the game.
Here's what I think happened. I don't know. It was a good game plan that played out the way the Titans wanted. But I feel like Baltimore beat themselves because they got away from who they were, right? Mm-hmm. Bottom line, they always run the ball. During the regular season, on first down, they run the ball 64% of the time. Yesterday, 25%. You can't win like that.
They were behind, Joe.
No. They weren't behind that whole game. In the first half,
they gave up on it too.
They gave up 2 touchdowns in the first half. That's not behind. And immediately they're chucking the ball, throwing it all over the place. You have to be able to slow the game down, and you also have to make good decisions. The decision-making, the play calling, it was not something that I've seen Harbaugh do before. They should have stuck to what they know how to do. And the reason I'm going to tell you I don't think they stuck to the run is because they only ran the ball, if I remember correctly, somewhere between 9 and 12 times.
The
Ravens.
9 times for the running backs.
Right.
Lamar Jackson, 20 carries, 143 yards on the ground. So
what have we said about running the ball? You have to keep doing it. Your running back should get the ball 25, 30 times a game. That's how Derrick Henry beat them. Not to say they would have gashed them and thrown up 200, 300 yards. No. But you have to do that to open up
yards.
Their whole game.
3 yards in a cloud of dust all day.
Their whole game is predicated upon the play action pass. And also the option.
Yeah.
All right. And so the other thing I saw Lamar doing, I did see him pressing to try to get like the big plays, which means he was holding the ball longer. He's trying to go for longer runs. And to be honest with you, he should have done it a little bit more like Russell Wilson normally does on a regular Sunday. Take your 4 or 5 yards a pop and then call it a day. But I do not. I don't think there's a bad season at all for Lamar.
Not a bad season. Yeah. I don't think it was a horrible game. Again, he had 143 yards on the ground. All right, and 365 yards in the air. So that's 508 yards for Lamar Jackson, bro.
Yeah, the Ravens didn't stick to what they know how to do.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. If it was going to be one of those types of game where they're running the ball on you and you're running it on them, you slow the game out, you extend it, so that way when you start chucking and throwing the ball all over the field, you look up and you be down 3-4 touchdowns, and the game will be over.
Right. Now, we didn't mention the drops.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I just and again, I feel like this offense overachieved the entire season because I don't feel like their skill position talent is really that great outside of Lamar Jackson.
It's good enough, but it's not amazing.
Lamar Jackson makes everybody on that offense better than they actually are. And when you got into a playoff situation where teams can focus in on Willie Snead, all right, take him out of the game, focus in on the tight end, slow them down, and leave it to Lamar. And Lamar did what he could, but they took everybody else out because these guys actually are not that talented offensively.
Dude, but as a whole, I think this team is a little bit better than you give them credit for because I look at them as a lot of role players.
Right, they're a team. They're a great team. But you can take role players out in big situations.
Yeah, but the thing is, role players win as a group, right? So you can take Willie Snead away, but if you call the right plays, you make the right decisions, and you don't do things like drop the ball on the ground.
Right, but those guys were dropping the ball because they're not that talented.
Yeah, well, they were playing a way they don't normally play, and that's chucking the ball over the field. They didn't throw the ball 60 times a game. They never did that.
Yeah.
I'd rather lose, run the ball 30 times, play action. They stopped us all day, and then you take the L like that. But the stupid mistakes, those 2 fourth and whatever short plays they tried to get like the first down, that killed them. Mm-hmm. The first one was in the first half. I thought that was dumb. The other one was in the second half, and I thought they should have kicked the field goal. You know, because momentum is everything. Because immediately after those plays happened, they got the ball back and ended up scoring on them immediately. So we'll see what happens.
Looking forward to next year because he gets better with the lessons. And I feel like there was a definite lesson here. I feel like this game was faster than he's used to in terms of the Titans' defense.
I thought he
They just
played
felt
too
like-
fast too.
Yeah, the game was a little bit too fast in terms of what he's used to in a learning situation. This is a second-year quarterback with only, I don't know, 25 starts maybe under his belt in his NFL career.
And what about this? Did you ever see him do a no huddle? See, when you have a guy like Lamar, you go to your no huddle. They did. There's a lot of things I think
this
they
is
left
all,
on the
it's all
table.
part of their progression.
Yeah.
In terms of developing a young quarterback.
And the coach need to prepare a better game plan. They were not ready. They got out coached.
Again, this is so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna.
I can't even put that on Lamar. He's
Yeah.
second-year quarterback. I'm not expecting him to come out, process everything, and then put together some game plan. Like that's
Right.
how your coaches help prepare you for certain scenarios,
Right. But
and they
again,
weren't ready.
I feel like Lamar had an excellent game.
Yeah, he
Well,
wasn't.
it
No, he
excellent.
wasn't trash. He was
He
good.
had a good game. He
Yeah.
did. He did what he could. And I just feel like the Titans were better.
And Derrick Henry happened.
Derrick Henry happened.
My goodness.